everyone, welcome back to the fourth week of our series on stress and transition. This week we're going to wrap it up with some action tips for you, so let's get started. Hi everyone, I'm Sharon Holand Gelfand, functional, holistic, and lifestyle nutritionist supporting busy, health-minded women get to the root of their most common health complaints with at-home testing and flexible food choices so they have more energy, less stress, and feel great again.
And I am Joy Meyers, a former molecular geneticist turned fear strategist, and I help women embrace change and tap into the 3 C's of life: choice, chance, and change. You always have a choice to take a chance to make a change.
Well, here we are wrapping up this month's series on stress and transition. First week, we talked about what to do for the mind, the how, and second week was about the gut. Last week, we discussed why it's so important, especially in the age of Corona and a stressful life, right? All this going on. This week, we want to wrap it all up after unpacking it, give you the tips, action steps, so that you can move forward and start reducing your stress and start taking care of your body. So Robin, how about you get started?
Let's start by a routine. You need a morning routine and you need an evening routine. That's a non-negotiable. What do you do with that, right? How do you do it? So again, 5 minutes. I really don't care what you do in your 5 minutes. I just want you to carve out time for you. Alone time. So what do I like to do? I like my cup of coffee. I like to jump rope. I like to do a meditation. I mean, my 5 minutes has turned into 15, 30 minutes. So I just want you to get started. I want you to just start creating this new habit. And in the evening, I want you to turn everything off. I want you to think about 3 things you're grateful for, preferably write them down. And right now, in this overwhelmed, big, stressful time, it could be you're grateful you got up and you made lunch for the day. It could just be that. And you might write that 3 times. Eventually, it'll get bigger. But you have to be able to kind of start those patterns. The other thing is, even with the best of intentions for the day, how are you going to reset when it all doesn't go as planned, right? Because not only are we staying home and trying to work from home, we're also now, if you have kids at home, you're a homeschool parent, and you're trying to make meals still, you're trying to do everything all together. So how do you do that? Take breaks. You know, we were joking before about a dance party, but I'm serious. Like, throw some good music on and take a break and either sing it out or dance it out. Just do something like that. Exercise, meditate, get outside if the weather is good, or even if it's cold, just bundle up and just get some fresh air. If it means opening a window, just get some fresh air in your body. But you got to do something. And if it's really cold, then light a candle, grab a fresh scent that you just like, you know, just something to reset. Just reset.
Can I have a glass of wine with that candle? Oh wait, that would be my question to me. Okay.
Yes, you can. And it's 5 o'clock somewhere, or 10 o'clock, or whatever you want. We're international, so it doesn't matter. You do it. You do you. See? You do you.
Yes.
Guilt-free. Do you.
I love that. There's so many great tips and ideas there. And the candle, like in the evening, to just even relax, to allow yourself to just breathe. You made me think about there would be times that I would pour myself, you know, either a glass of healthy organic wine or, you know, a cocktail, whatever. But I would sit and I'd take a book and I wouldn't try to read so much. I'd say, you know, let me just read 20 pages. Let me just start with something, right? To just unwind and relax and let go of the day. So that was my thing.
And it's really important because we are working from home and we are trying to do everything. So it's important to kind of now categorize where you're working, right? And what's going to be your workspace, what's going to be your play space. Just move it around, right? And it's okay to, especially as an entrepreneur, as tempting as it is, and we know we run our own business, that sometimes we feel like we can't stop because we're behind on something. We have to stop. We just have to. And we'll be more efficient when we pick it back up. So it's really important to make sure that you're doing whatever you're doing by your terms and not feeling like you have to keep up with anybody or anything, but it's kind of setting your boundaries.
Yeah. It's interesting because when we were in offices, it was trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to be as productive as somebody. But now that you are home, right, you do have that flexibility to not compare yourself really to others. And what's interesting too is, we all have the same 168 hours in a week.
Right.
So when people, they might be hearing this and thinking, and even when I work with people, like, oh, I don't have time for that. But we all have the same hours in a day, in a week. And if you actually look at, and I would really encourage people to do this as part of the action step for both of us, for both the mind and the gut and the food, is write down the number 168. As a matter of fact, like everybody right now, take out a pen and paper.
It's a great idea.
Write down the number 168. And then from that, subtract out how many hours you sleep, how many hours you work, and usually it would be how many hours you're commuting, but you don't have the commute anymore. So, how many hours it is that you, for exercise, the non-negotiables, the kids, the meal prep, the cooking, the cleaning, whatever it is, add up all those hours, subtract it from 168, and whatever the number you end up with, that's how much time you have left in a week. And people are shocked when they see numbers of like 40, 50, 60, the hours. And they're like, what am I doing with that time?
Well, there's two thoughts with that too. One is like, do it for a whole week and almost like put yourself on, I know you don't like this term, but a diet sort of thing, like just to track it so you can see kind of the pattern that you have. I think it's a great way to kind of get a benchmark and a gauge. Yeah. But the other thing is we're not commuting, right? So we all have the same time, but we're almost buying some time in there where we could be more flexible, right? We're not even driving the kids to school. I mean, I remember when my kids were younger, somehow you lost like 2.5 hours by the time you go to school, you come back, you go to whatever practice, you come back. You are buying time. So when you start tracking those hours, like use that and use it for you and use it for your growth and use it just to really be healthy, and that health is taking care of your brain and your gut and just, positive thinking. And as we've been talking over the last few weeks, it all is your body's health.
Yeah, so true. And writing it down, it just even buy a journal or take a notebook, whatever it is, keep it in one place. Because when you can start to see your patterns, then seeing it from like the mind to the hand to the paper, you can then really see what you're doing and then pick one place to shift, one place to make that change. Because the habits aren't about, and same thing with dieting, it's not about like doing it all at once, right? Because we know that doesn't work, because that just overwhelms us even more. But if you can track it, as you're saying, the diet of, tracking and looking at your patterns, and then say, where do I want to start? Pick one thing. And that's part of even what I do with my gut method. Because once you get connected and understand that taking action is when you look at everything, where's that one place? What is the easiest? Where's the low-hanging fruit?
Right.
The one thing. And be kind to yourself. Same thing, right? The compassion. And put the oxygen mask on yourself first.
Exactly. And that's a great point that you made. And I want to make it clear too. I'm giving all these like reset options, right? Or options. So it doesn't mean you have to do it all. And that's why, I'm trying to just give options and how to set a routine. So pick what you like, pick what works for you, and it's baby steps. As long as it's baby steps and you're creating the new pattern and it's forward movement, like just start the momentum of taking care of yourself.
Right, I agree. And even with picking the baby steps, it's the same thing with food. When people are like, oh, I don't know where to start, I'm so overwhelmed, it's stressing me out, there's nothing for dinner. And it's the same thing of like, okay, what's the easiest thing for you to do first? Would it be planning your week and looking at your cupboard and seeing what you can buy and what you can prepare, what your options are? Or if you already do that, is it upgrading the quality of the foods. Instead of having juice, you're eating the fruit. You know, instead of having the sandwich, you're having a nice salad with a protein. It's always about these baby steps and just picking one at a time. Because, I mean, you know, it's funny, actually, I'm saying baby steps. When babies learn to walk, they fall down thousands and thousands of times. I remember I was actually reading a study about it as I was writing my book, and they get themselves back up. Parents don't yell. We don't call our kids, you know, any names because they fell. We encourage them to get back up. You could do it. You could do it. And then when they walk, we're like, yay, we got the recorders out, and we're like, oh my God.
Right. Even when they're wobbling, right? You know, they're going to go and they're like, woo.
But, you know, we never made them wrong about it. They just did it. And yet we're so hard on ourselves when something goes wrong. It's not. It's just like, oh, okay, a little glitch. Let me reset. Just what you said. Let me reset. Let me, you know, let me just come back. It's okay. Come back.
And I think that's such a great point, because at any stage in our life, right? It's when we're starting a new business, when we're going through a transition of life, or, you know, we're just starting something. It doesn't matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, you're starting something new. It's like learning to walk. You're learning. So it takes time to learn it.
Absolutely. And we forget that.
We forget that. We think we have to go from 0 to 60 and understand it and be able to grasp it. And we starting a business, like we're supposed to have it all working. Let me be the first to tell you, that's not how it happens.
Definitely not.
So
it's not the straight line. It's the
no, and then back again and up again, and you know, yeah,
exactly.
But it is how you talk to yourself about it, right? And it is truly trusting your gut and saying to yourself, like, it's okay. Like, I know I'm going to get there and it's okay. So it's really being able then to quiet the negative talk in your mind and being able to just take a deep breath. And even if you feel like I've failed, well, then you learn something from that failure that you're going to, obviously, maybe you're not going to do it the same way, or you're going to do it a little bit better, right? I mean, everything's a lesson in there. So I think when you can shift the negativity of it, it's like, I'm going to be just fine.
Yeah. And it's not even that it's a failure, which is we're so quick to judge ourselves on. I don't remember where I heard this quote, but I love it. It's a setback that's a setup for a comeback.
Oh, I like that.
And that's for everything.
Say that again.
It's a setback that's a setup for a comeback.
I love that.
So whatever we do that may take us backwards, and it's the shift that you're talking about and how we're looking at it as it's not a failure. Okay, it's a setback, but let me regroup and set myself up to then move forward with more knowledge or whatever it is. And food, with our health, with our kids, with our business, it applies to relationships, everything.
Right. I love that.
I know. I like that too. It's really stuck with me. And I actually use it when I'm working with my clients when it comes to food and it comes to diet and the action steps that they could take when they're feeling stressed or when they feel like they're having that setback.
So what are those things?
Just as with the mind and with the overwhelm, right? There's so many places to start. And I think really what I want to focus on first is the idea that when we're stressed and we're anxious, we are depleting our bodies of essential nutrients like magnesium, which helps to relax our bodies, and B vitamins. And so just even thinking, okay, where can I bring in some healthy foods? Where can I start to add some things in that are going to replenish my loss of magnesium, right? Which helps to reduce your anxiety. So dark green leafy vegetables like Swiss chard or spinach or broccoli and asparagus, having nuts and seeds, pumpkin seeds, rich in magnesium.
Wow.
Beans, you know, having different types of beans, even turnip greens or mustard greens. When we look, I always look to food first, right? To bring in for people. When we look to it, it's trying to like look at writing down what am I eating, and picking one new vegetable that I haven't eaten. Colors of the rainbow, because they provide us with all these different nutrients that we need for gut health, that we need for brain health, that give us antioxidants. which reduces stress, helps to bring down the inflammation, right? So it's adding in the vegetables, adding in the nuts and seeds, eating fatty fish, omega, like wild salmon that's rich in omega-3s. These foods help to add in these antioxidants to help reduce the inflammation. So, always looking to foods first with that. And then, of course, the things that we all know, limit the refined sugars and the added sugars, looking at your labels. So maybe one action item that you might decide to do this week is go to the supermarket, or even look in your cupboard first, pull out the box of crackers and say, what's in it? Is this serving me? Similar to what you talk about with the brain, does this serve me?
That's a great idea. It really is a great idea, and I think then when you go and you shop, you can get a little more strict with yourself, and make a conscious choice as to what you are buying and what is in it. I've decided that, and this is such an easy thing, and I'm very conscious now when I'm making either a stir fry or a chili or something. I just grab a handful of kale and spinach and whatever green I do have in the fridge and just throw it in, and it sautés down really quickly. But it just adds a texture to it that's just good.
Yeah. Yeah. And even for somebody, let's say, who is a white rice eater, ways to transition could be, let me get some cauliflower rice. Let me mix some rice and cauliflower rice, right? It's always about not just saying, oh, I have to take this away. It's what can I add in? And back to what you were saying about writing everything down and keeping track. It's the same thing with food. It's looking at, what am I doing? What am I eating? Does this serve me? Am I bringing in nutritious foods? And even if it's the crackers that you love, it's not saying, well, you can't have those crackers, but then looking at the whole scheme of like your week and the foods that you're eating. And if you really love those crackers, I'm just pulling that out. It could be anything, right? It could be dark chocolate. Then you can look at it as, what, I'm going to indulge. So that I'm not dieting, I'm not restricting, I'm going to indulge. I'm going to look at my week at 80% healthy, 20%, right. Let me have fun. Because we don't live in the woods. I still do not eat bamboo shoots and leaves. It's not happening.
Right.
Yeah. And then also spices, turmeric, ginger, all of these foods are going to help to reduce the inflammation, decrease the anxiety. And if you need to take a supplement, start with something that's an essential oil like lemon balm. Lemon balm is so soothing. It calms the body. It calms the mind. So finding things, again, one thing at a time that you could bring in slowly every week to your repertoire of what you're enjoying.
Wow, I love lemon. I'm going to go get some lemon balm just to have. I love lemon.
I do too. I mean, I put lemon in my water every day, but
me too.
It's again, it's always about the baby steps and probiotic foods, having sauerkraut. There's so many places. Don't try to do it all.
Right.
Pick one meal, pick one food, just pick one thing, keep track, transition slowly.
Right.
When you do that, it becomes part of your lifestyle. And then the word diet, it doesn't exist. Those scales, you don't need them anymore. Really. I know, I actually look on your face.
I actually don't have one. I don't have one
anymore either.
Yeah.
I used to weigh myself every day.
I did for a while, and I just don't anymore. So I can tell when things don't feel right, and I don't,
Yeah.
So for good or bad, I just don't. So
ditch the scale.
Yeah, ditch the scale. Sharon, this is awesome. And so, I enjoy unpacking lunch with you. And so I hope everyone, just realizes this is such a time of transition. Overall, this is such a huge time of transition normally. And then let's throw in this worldly pandemic and everything else. So it's even that much larger of a time of transition. So just be kind to yourself and gentle. And thanks for unpacking lunch and this whole series.
Yeah, this is a great series. I can't wait till next month. So until then, everybody, have a great week.
Take care.